I'm so glad you're here with me today. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day, no matter where you are in this incredible world of ours. Today, we're diving deep into XRP, and I've got some seriously exciting news to share with you. The crypto community is buzzing about this latest development from Crypto Brothers. They're calling it an XRP super trend setup that's looking eerily similar to some of the most historic rallies we've ever seen. And here's the part that's got everyone talking. We're looking at a potential $27 target that's gaining serious momentum. I know that sounds incredible, but stick with me because the technical analysis behind this is absolutely fascinating. 7 XRP. And this is where it gets exciting. Just a few months ago, these same analysts were predicting XRP would hit somewhere between $4 to $9. Then they bumped it up to $10 to $15. But now they're all jumping on the $27 bandwagon. And you know what? This actually makes me think we might be heading even higher. Here's why. XRP has this incredible habit of surprising absolutely everyone. It's like that friend who always shows up to the party in a completely unexpected outfit. When the crowd expects one thing, XRP tends to do something totally different. But let's talk real numbers for a second, because this is where it gets really interesting. Picture this. If you're holding just 1,000 XRP right now, and it hits that $27 target, you're looking at $27,000. Let that sink in for a moment. $27,000 from 1,000 XRP. Stop getting caught up in those crazy numbers. I see people all the time thinking they need 20,000 XRP to make any real money. But here's the truth. It's not about the size of your bag. It's about your strategy. The real question you need to ask yourself is this. How long are you willing to hold? Are you thinking short-term gains, or are you playing the long game? Here's where it gets really smart. What if you staked that XRP and started earning passive income? Picture this. You take that monthly passive income, reinvest a portion of it back into more XRP, and watch your passive income grow even bigger every single month. It's like compound interest on steroids. But listen, and this is super important. I always tell my community this golden rule. Never, and I mean never, overinvest in crypto. Only put in what you can afford to lose. Yes, more is always better, but not at the expense of your financial security or peace of mind. Take a listen to this.
And Ripple's thesis has been, okay, now is a time to really be aggressive about growth. And that is both organic growth and continuing to build. We're in the payments business, leveraging core technologies around blockchain and the XRP ledger around payments. We're in the custody business. We're in the stablecoin business. And then earlier this year, to your point around mergers and acquisitions, we spent $1.25 billion to buy Hidden Road, a prime broker, frankly, the largest non-bank prime broker out there. And we bought for $200 million, a stablecoin company called Rail, which was one of the leading stablecoin companies for the enterprise. So corporate treasury looking to use stablecoins to solve some of their internal movement of money, and that has been a great acquisition for us. So we're going to continue to play offense. I hope I have some more news on that very, very soon. And we think now is the time to invest, and that partly because of that macro shift in government policy for the United States. I hope I have some more news on that very, very soon.
Okay, so it sounds like Ripple is gearing up for yet another major acquisition, and that's huge news. But here's what Brad just revealed that I think is absolutely game-changing. Ripple isn't just a one-trick pony anymore. They've become this incredibly well-rounded powerhouse. We're talking tokenization, custody services, stablecoins. They've got their fingers in all the right pies. And here's the beautiful part that a lot of people miss. Every single one of these developments adds real, tangible value to XRP over time. And this is the key point I want you to remember. XRP isn't just some side project for Ripple. It's literally at the heart of everything they do. It's the beating heart of their entire ecosystem. So when Ripple grows and expands into these new areas, guess what benefits the most? That's right, XRP. So, Vincent Vanco just dropped a bombshell, and honestly, he's not holding back. He's saying, I'm glad the cat's finally out of the bag with Binance. And get this, he's been calling this out for months in his posts, basically saying we're all getting played. Here's his take. These exchanges let you win sometimes, just to build your confidence, and then bam! They hit you when you least expect it. Sound familiar? It's exactly like a casino, except here's the scary part. It's completely unlicensed and unregulated. And speaking of drama, the Crypto.com CEO is now calling on regulators to investigate Binance after a massive $400 billion liquidation flash crash. The culprit? Apparently, Binance's own faulty price oracles caused the whole mess. You know what? This is exactly why I don't trust any of these exchanges. Here's my philosophy. Buy your crypto, then get it the heck out of there. Move it straight to your own wallet where you control it. And here's the beautiful thing. As a crypto investor, you really don't need these exchanges anymore. I actually showed you guys recently how to connect your wallet directly to the XRP ledger. I used Decent in that example because I do have an affiliate partnership with them. Full transparency here. But you can absolutely do this with Ledger or pretty much any other wallet you prefer. The bottom line? We're moving beyond needing these centralized exchanges, and honestly, it's about time.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Vet is calling out Binance right now, saying they're caught up in major drama because their predatory practices for new listings just got completely exposed. Remember how Coinbase made Ripple pay through the nose just to get XRP listed? And that was back when Ripple was already a legitimate, established company. It's absolutely wild when you think about it. But here's the silver lining, and I totally agree with this. The way forward is crystal clear. Decentralized exchanges all the way, baby. No more gatekeepers, no more predatory fees, no more getting held hostage by these centralized platforms. Now, here's something that might surprise you. I actually think the banks are going to swoop in and replace most of these exchanges eventually. Why? Because they're already diving headfirst into the custody game, and they want those sweet crypto revenue streams too. Think about this for a second. Once banks fully embrace crypto, it's going to change everything. Right now, most people see crypto as the Wild West, right? Something sketchy that they wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. But the moment their trusted bank starts offering crypto services, boom! Suddenly it's legitimate in their eyes. Now don't get me wrong, I would never personally go through a bank for my crypto investments. But millions of new investors absolutely would. And honestly, I think that's exactly what we're going to see in the very near future. And speaking of the future, we've got some breaking news. Hold up! We've got some absolutely massive breaking news here. The US OCC just officially approved Arbor as a crypto bank, and guess who's next in line? That's right, Ripple National Trust Bank. Now here's where this gets really exciting, and the timeline might shock you. Arbor filed their application with the OCC on June 11, 2025. Ripple? They filed theirs on July 2, 2025. We're talking about just a 3-week difference here. So here's the million-dollar question. Could Ripple actually get their banking license way sooner than anyone expects? Because listen to this. Most people in the crypto space have been saying this whole process is going to drag out well into 2026. But with Arbor getting approved and Ripple being right behind them in the queue, we might be looking at something happening by the end of this year. Can you imagine the implications if Ripple becomes a fully licensed bank before 2026? The timeline just got a whole lot more interesting, my friends. Technical analysis by XRP as soon as possible. Look, I think we can all agree on one thing. This market is absolutely going to rebound, and when it does, it's going to be explosive. Here's what I'm seeing. Anything you put into XRP right now, you can realistically expect at least an 8 to 10 times return from current levels. And that's me being conservative. A lot of analysts are throwing around numbers like 30 times or even higher for this cycle. Just think about that for a second. A 30x would put XRP around $90. Can that actually happen? Absolutely. In fact, I'm seeing some people make even wilder predictions. Some are calling for over $1,000. Others are going even higher than that. But here's my approach. I want to see how the ETFs impact XRP's price first. I'm also keeping a close eye on what happens with ISO next month. And of course, we're all waiting for that regulatory clarity to finally pass in the United States. Every single one of these catalysts is massively bullish for XRP. And if Ripple gets that banking license we just talked about, game over. That could send this thing to the moon. But here's the thing. You should always be accumulating XRP. I literally tell people this every single day, especially those who've never invested in crypto before. I tell them, listen, if you want to make serious money, this is your opportunity. The beautiful part? If you buy now,
You're not even tying up your money for long because this run could start at any moment. Nobody knows exactly when it's going to happen, but we all know it's coming. The question isn't if, it's when.
Wait. Did you guys catch what just happened here? Notice how he's positioning XRP as some kind of high-risk, lower market cap asset. Hold up a second. Does this guy not realize that XRP actually has a higher market cap than Solana? Of course he knows. He's not stupid. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is why you always need to follow the money. Take a look at that sponsor logo in the bottom right corner of his video. What do you see? That's right. A Solana company is literally paying for this content. Now it all makes sense, doesn't it? Listen to this.
Now, most of the investors that we speak to, these financial advisors and RAs, don't know that much about crypto, or they're early on in their journey. And so they're excited about Bitcoin. They've maybe heard about Ethereum because they hear about stablecoins and tokenization. Maybe they've heard about Solana. But once you get past those assets, we really don't get a lot of questions. Maybe XRP, maybe the Cardano question every once in a while. So I think it's going to take time before flows go into those assets, certainly. I do think there will be more crypto enthusiast investors who do want to go out down the risk curve and they want to choose the lower cap assets.
Here's what's really telling. Notice how they're desperately trying to push Solana as the next Bitcoin or the next Ethereum? They really don't want to talk about XRP, but here's the thing. They absolutely can't help themselves. XRP keeps forcing its way into every conversation. And you know what? I'm telling you right now, when these massive institutional investors finally arrive, they're not just looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're already thinking 3 steps ahead, asking, what's next? Well, guess what's next in line by market cap? That's right, XRP. XRP is going to reclaim that number 3 spot, and it's just a matter of time. Once this next breakout begins, and it's coming, XRP will shoot right back up to being the 3rd largest cryptocurrency. But here's where I think it gets really spicy. I genuinely believe XRP is going to flip Ethereum in this run. That's not even a question in my mind. That's practically guaranteed. But will it flip Bitcoin? There's actually a very real chance of that happening too. And listen, if that happens, when XRP becomes the #1 cryptocurrency, it's going to be an absolutely incredible day to be an XRP investor. You know all those people on X who spend every single day attacking XRP and fighting with our community? They'll vanish into thin air. Poof, gone. Okay, this is huge. Weeboss just dropped a bombshell press release with the SEC, and trust me, you're going to want to hear this. They're announcing plans to create a tokenized travel reward exchange platform, and here's the kicker. It's integrating XRP stablecoin settlement to revolutionize cross-border reward redemption. We're talking about completely transforming how loyalty programs work across the entire industry. Now, they didn't specifically name which stablecoins they're using, but come on. We all know this is going to involve heavy integration with the XRP ledger. And here's what's interesting. They didn't explicitly mention XRP's role in the announcement, but the community immediately picked up on something crucial. People in the comments are saying they don't even need to mention XRP because anything that runs on the XRP ledger automatically involves XRP. And honestly, they're absolutely right. This platform is targeting a massive problem in the fragmented $20 billion loyalty management market. We're talking about improving liquidity, transparency, and interoperability between airlines, hotels, and reward ecosystems. This thing actually solves real-world problems. Now, they're still in the early stages. Pilot programs haven't even started yet, but they're already looking at North America and Asia with travel partners. Here's why I'm so excited about this. Once reward programs start running on blockchain, it creates this incredible domino effect. Other companies see the success and think, we need to get on this train too. It's the exact same network effect we see with banks. Once 2 banks start using XRP and RippleNet, suddenly every other bank wants in on the action. This could be the beginning of something massive. And just like that, boom, we're looking at mass adoption happening right before our eyes. Speaking of incredible momentum, we've got some absolutely massive news coming out of Africa today. Get ready for this. ABSA, one of South Africa's biggest and most respected financial institutions, just became Ripple's very first major custody partner on the entire African continent. This is huge, guys. We're talking about bringing institutional-grade digital asset custody straight to South Africa. They're building the secure, compliant infrastructure that institutions have been desperately waiting for to meet this exploding demand. Think about what this means. Africa is a massive market,
And now Ripple has their foot firmly in the door with one of the continent's most trusted financial giants. This isn't just another partnership announcement. This is Ripple establishing serious institutional infrastructure in a whole new region. The institutional demand is clearly there, and now Ripple is positioning themselves to capture it. This is exactly how mass adoption begins, one major institution at a time, one continent at a time.
Hey everyone, remember when I told you that Ripple's custody solution was going to be absolutely huge? Well, guess what just dropped? And this is exactly what we've been waiting for. So here's the exciting news. Ripple just announced a game-changing partnership with ABSA Bank in South Africa. We're talking about bringing institutional-grade digital asset custody directly to bank customers. That's right. ABSA is going to use Ripple's rock-solid custody technology to safely store tokenized assets, including cryptocurrencies, for their clients. And here's where it gets really interesting. This could be just the beginning. We might start seeing treasury companies across Africa jumping on board with Ripple's custody solution too. Listen, this is the stuff we've been talking about for years, and now it's actually happening right before our eyes in 2025. This is why I keep saying you're not late to the party yet, but that door, it's definitely starting to close. I'm telling you, one morning you're going to wake up, check your phone, and see XRP already sitting pretty in double digits. And everyone's going to be asking, wait, what just happened? How did we get here so fast? That's when you'll realize it's because XRP is going live on all these incredible rails that Ripple's been building. This custody solution, it's massive for tokenization. Think about it. You need secure custody, you need that bridge asset to move tokenized assets around, and then you combine that with cross-border payments. Ripple isn't just good at one thing. They're building a complete ecosystem. The XRP ledger is becoming this incredibly well-rounded platform, and as XRP investors, we're positioned to benefit from all of it. But here's the key. Until everything clicks into place, we need to stay patient and keep that positive energy flowing. We're building wealth together here, people. All right, that's a wrap on today's video. I genuinely appreciate each and every one of you watching and being part of this journey. I'll catch you in the next one. Have an amazing night, everyone.